Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. It's like, what the fuck is happening? What is this movie? And I was like, okay. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
School was hell, but vacation was murder. The Mutilator.
I'm now going to get into my spoiler review chat. Juggle money gives you my scene by scene breakdown of The Mutilator chat, which is a kind of like a long-forgotten slasher from the 80s. I mean, there's a lot of forgotten slasher films, chat, that were made throughout the 70s and 80s into the 90s. There were so many. Obviously, because of the success of John Carpenter's Halloween, you had people like, hey, we can make these quick, we can make these cheap, and we're just going to put it out there and try to make as much money on the weekend that we have, chat. And The Mutilator, again, film that you don't know any of the people who are in this movie. I'm telling you right now, if I say the cast list, you're like, no. This is obviously first-time actors based on their performances. They are first-time actors, chat. It's directed by, written by, produced by, starring by, cinematography by the same person. Good old Buddy Cooper, chat. I love that. Has a budget of $1 million. It's crazy to think this movie was made for $1 million because it looks so fucking cheap. Halloween, for this movie, chat, was less expensive to make. Halloween was made for $320,000, and then extra basically $700,000 for this movie. It's fucking nuts. Because I'll tell you, we're at the top, chat. This is not as good as something like Halloween. Hell, even Friday the 13th. That's just kind of like side by side with Friday the 13th, where the whole premise is you have a father who basically resents his son and decides, I'm going to fucking kill him and all his friends. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. I don't care. And he goes to town, chat, using every weapon at his disposal. Everything from fucking throwing knives to fish hooks to gaffs to tridents to his favorite weapon, his battle axe, chat. Because every hunter has a battle axe. Okay, that's my favorite line in this movie, is when the friends go to this, beachside condominium, and are going through this house, and the son, little Ed Jr., he's like, oh, that's weird. My dad's battle axe is missing. It's like, that's a little weird. I'd be a little concerned. Never heard of this movie? No one has. Because I'm going to ask you the question, chat, before we go ahead and start talking about this film, and that question being, how many of you have seen The Mutilator, or as it was originally called, chat, Fall Break? How many of you have seen this movie? Very curious. Procure Walman, you have seen it. Look at that. You have seen it. Very nice. Thank you, Dark Slayer, for the 5 tridents. The fuck is this, Aquaman? Kinda. It's kind of already. But of course, battle axes, they're essential. Every hunter has them. Chris here says, hell no. Mocha never heard of it. Here, Walmy, I saw it as Fall Break. Wow, okay, did you actually see this in theaters? Hey, I don't know what this is. Casby says, nope. I've seen Dead Meat. Do a kill count of this. Okay, so you might have seen it that way. I could see Dead Meat, and like YouTubers and YouTube critics like expose people to these kind of long forgotten horror films. That yeah, I could definitely see that. Ooh, chat. Don, thank you for the 19 biddies. How appropriate with that spoopy theme, the Halloween theme. Halloween, Claude Rains' niece is in this, right? I don't know. If that is the case, you know more than I do then. If she is, cool. I wonder which character. I wonder which character she was. I'm very curious. Doug Hammer, I've not, but I'm looking forward to the many scenes break. Oh, I'll do it, my friend. I'll do it. Yeah, the other guy I saw a review of Bad Movies with Mark. Well, I shall be the other person along with Bad Movies with Mark and Dead Meat. I'm among titans, chat. I'm happy to stand shoulder to shoulder, side by side with these great YouTube critics, chat. So you got the Dead Meat kill counter review, you got the Bad Movies with Mark review, and now you're getting the and now Don, thank you for the gifted sub to DT Darkslayer. And now, chat, you shall get the class in the glass, Mr. Revan 7, scene by scene by scene, by scene breakdown of The Mutilator. It'll be fun, chat. It'll be fun. And we start out, chat, with a cold open. We start with a very cold open, chat. Like, we don't even get the title of the movie, which is not even the title of what it's called today. But we get a cold open. We have the logo of the production company. It said, sure, we'll give you $1 million for this. We'll do that, suppose. But cold open, chat, and we're in, like, this very kind of colonial era house in the woods. Don! Oh, my Lord, Don, thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs. That was so kind of you. We'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and do the review after we enjoy this generosity provided us by Don. Thank you, Hey. Hey for the 5 biddies. Very kind of you. Film Freak, welcome to stream. Hope you're doing well. I could tell you, Chris, but it would be spelling it. Fair enough. Fair enough. I like it. Oh, I know. It's the mom, isn't it? It's the mom. She's his niece. I bet that's what it is. I hope you guys are doing very well. Just about to get into my review of The Mutilator. I'm going to bed. Just wanted to say goodnight with the spookies. No, thank you, Don. I do appreciate that. Pennywise, thanks to you as well. It's very, very kind of you. The generosity. Yeah, chat. It makes me realize just like how many other like long forgotten, underappreciated horror films there are out there, especially slashers. So many. We know the iconic ones, like I said, chat, like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Streets and Halloween's and Child's Place and Leprechauns and all those, of course. But it just really shows you like there were some of these one-offs that just went nowhere, but they exist. They're still there. A lot of them are like available on Amazon for free or on YouTube for free. There's just a shit ton of them. And it's waiting to be watched. I see that you go, snap mages that you did indeed, my friend. I'm just about to get into it. Just enjoying the generosity that Don has provided, along with everyone else has provided tonight. It's been great, man. I figured a review for this film was worth it after doing the full-length video and audio commentary for Dejigoing Isaac Stevenson. I will say when I get my adherence, I'm going to do hundreds. That will be incredible, Don. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. And always a pleasure to have you here. No, you got to get to bed. No, you got to get your sleep for work in the morning. But thank you for stopping by. Indeed. Let's see, how many more do we have left? One more left. One more to polymorphic. Great, chat. There it is. There it is. And now, my friends, I'm going to do my scene by scene breakdown, chat, to Buddy Cooper's 1984 slasher film, The Mutilator. We start with a cold opening, chat, in a 2-story colonial era house in the middle of the woods. We have Big Ed wife's baking a cake. This mom character, chat, this woman who looks like she's be in her mid-40s, chat. I love that she's like baking a fucking cake, but it's obviously Ducky. Oh, we got a hype train. I'm never gonna start this review. Ducky and Henry Stefan, thank you for the 200 biddies. If we're on the evil hype train, chat, then I'm not gonna do the review quite yet. Are we gonna get hype, chat? Are we gonna get a nice juicy gain hype beforehand? Because I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty details just when we get a hype train on the horizon, chat. You know? That's the thing. That is the thing. I got to be patient. Wait for bated breath. I've had like 4 false starts already with the review. Doug, I'm sorry. No, it's fine. Doug, it's totally fine. No apologies necessary. Listen, believe me, the biddies, it's the lifeblood. It's what keeps me going. It's what keeps the lights on a little bit longer. No name woman, thank you with the 40 biddies. Appreciate that. Because Walmy, 2 juicy hype trains in one day. I know. We had one on Double Toast today, which was amazing. And Ducky and Henry with another 100 biddies. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Do appreciate it. John Carpenter, chat. That keyboard synth remix. I love it. Very, very good. Give you an idea what's happening in the future, chat. So this Friday, I will be doing a review. Not a spoiler review, but a regular review of Halloween Kills. That'll be on the docket. Oh my god, Doug, I have another 300 unicorn biddies. Thank you, the Pride biddies. Wowa, weewa, indeed. Yeah, actually, I think I might just do a hype train just for the hell of it. Might as well just do it. Hi, sir, baby. Welcome to the stream. We're just about to get into the review. And then next week, chat, I'll do the Madea Halloween movies. The Boo Madea Halloween movies, chat. That's what we'll be doing. It'll be a fun time. And Duck and Henry with the gifted sub to Rachel. You know what? For the hell of it. And 2 gifted subs, excuse me. 2 gifted subs. Naughty Woman. Whoa, we getting hype. Hype train has commenced, chat. Has commenced. But now, chat, I must get to my review. All right? I got to get to my review, chat. My scene by scene breakdown, chat, to the 1984 slasher film directed by Buddy Cooper, The Mutilator. Also known as Fall Break, chat. And this film is so fucking cheap, they didn't even change the text in the movie to The Mutilator. Just keep it Fall Break. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, chat. And we start in a colonial era home in the middle of the woods, chat. We're introduced to a 40, possibly 45-year-old woman baking a cake, but it's obvious she didn't bake it, chat. It's obviously like a store-bought cake. It has that look to it, chat. And she's just kind of standing there with, like, you know, like the frosting. I don't know what it's called, the frosting squeezer, where you put the frosting at the top. It's like a bag, and you squeeze out the frosting. And it looks like she's just adding extra frosting to a cake that has way too much frosting. Like, I'm not a big cake guy, really. And especially that cheap, shitty store frosting. It's like you're adding more of something I already don't like. And she just has this 1,000-yard stare, chat. She's just like, you could tell this is just, I don't know if she's an actress or not. If she is, if she's not, well, it makes sense. She just has this 1,000-yard stare. It's like, is this how I make a cake? You're nailing it, honey. You're killing it. You're killing it right now. And we see this little boy. I thought it was like the mom, because the editing in this movie is so bad. I thought we just had a sharp fucking cut, and she like went to go open a door. But then I see the mom. I'm like, oh, this is a new fucking character, Jesus. But this little boy, Chet, his name is Little Ed Jr. And he looks exactly like his mom, Chet. Same fucking hairstyle, all right? They just got that kind of like 1980s, just kind of like, poof. Like, just kind of like, it looks like a fro. It just looks like a fro, Chet. And he looks there and he sees his mom just kind of standing there with a 1,000-yard stare, apparently trying to bake a cake or something or put frosting on it. On the cake, it says, "Happy birthday, Big Ed," chat. So you assume there's an Ed Sr. and we have Little Ed Jr. And Little Ed Jr., she's like, well, I want to do something special on Dad's birthday. And so he goes into Dad's study, chat, where Dad has like all of these stuffed animals, chat. He's big into taxidermy. He's a hunter. He has all these guns and shit there. And he goes to the gun cabinet, right, and he has this really shitty-looking, like, card he gives his dad, like, that's like this pink piece of paper, and on it says, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I decided to clean all your guns today. Love you." And it's like, oh, that's nice. So he's trying to, clean the guns for the dad, because that takes a lot of work, Jay. You got to take them apart, got to clean them and got to get the barrel and all the gun shit. And so he puts the note right on the gun cabinet, chat, and he starts taking them out, and he takes out the first fucking gun, right? And he does, looks like he's cleaning it and shit, but after a while, Little Ed Jr. clearly gets fucking bored, and then he starts playing soldier, chat. He starts going, "Pachoo, pachoo, pachoo," but that time he actually held down the trigger, chat, and this giant fucking slug goes through the door and hits the mom, chat. Hits her right in the back, and her whole chest and stomach just explodes out of her. She's like, ah! And like all the blood and guts and ripped flesh just falls on Big Ed's really cheap looking cake, and she collapses on it, and like the cake actually, funny enough, ends up in her stomach, which is like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And she falls down, chat, in a mess, and she's like, and she dies. And little fucking Ed Jr., he walks out and goes, "Oh my God, Mom!" And so he's like really guilty and shit. And wouldn't you know it, Chad, who's just walking through the front door is fucking Big Ed, chat. Little Ed's dad. Witness! Witness me! The mom just died, Mr. Hummendater. She's dead. She's dead. Little Ed Jr. killed her while playing soldier boy with Dad's guns. Thank you. Good to have you here. Who else? Nah, you brownie, wowie. Oh, who else is here, chat? Lammy Dudes, good to see you. Dippin' Dudes, look at all the dudes, chat. Brando Calrissian, Trav Cam, Divine Miss Klein. Just started my review, my friend. My scene by scene by scene. By scene breakdown of the Mutilator, also known as Fall Break, where little Ed Jr. just blew mom's like torso out from under her, chat, and so all of her meat is now on the cake at this point. What were you streaming, Mr. Hummendinger? I'm curious. Alex Banal, YouTube editor extraordinaire Alex Banal, good to see you. Dip into the 69 biddy donation. Thank you. It's hot and appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you. In fact, the mom and the kid director is actual son and wife, but Buddy Cooper does not play dad. I didn't know that. That's fucking nuts. Damn. He does not like his wife. Divine Miss Clay, thank you for the 100 biddies. Good to see you, YouTube editor extraordinaire. You've been doing some fantastic work on the YouTube videos, by the way, good sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've been looking at all of them. They're great. They're really great. Thank you so much. An absolute pleasure to have you here, guys. Oh, my favorite's Dead Space 2. Very nice. Very cool. Yeah, love that guy. I'm gonna play that probably later this month, towards the end of the month. But nice. Well, chat, hey, you want to check out a fantastic sequel from a fantastic streamer? Go ahead, mosey on over to Mr. Hummendinger's, Julian Mr. Hummendinger streams. Give that man some support. Follow him, subscribe to him, donate to him, chat. I would appreciate it. But now, chat, we're going to transition back to the events of the Mutilator. So mom's like meat is just all over the place, and Big Ed walks in, and he's like, "Oh no, Barbara," whatever the fuck her name is, and he's like, "Oh, oh," and he's like trying to put her tummy back inside of her, but she's gone, Chad. He shot some pheasants or whatever, some birds, I don't know, birds, puts them there, and then little Ed Jr., he's by the door frame, and he's like, "Dad, I'm sorry, it was an accident." And Big Ed just walks over to him, and he's got the 1,000-yard stare, just like Mom did, except he's not baking a store-bought cake. And he goes over there, Chad. He's like, "You did this. You did this." And he just fucking rears his hand back and bah! He smacks the shit out of that kid, Chad. I mean, he just reels back and boom! And then he goes for another one, Chad. Bah! A backhand and forehand, Chad. And he sends little Ed Jr. flying across the room, and like the dad's like, "I want to kill you." And little Ed Jr., he just skedaddles. He gets out of there as fast as he possibly can. And, you know, Big Ed, he's too traumatized to chase after little Ed Jr., but he sees his wife, and he's like, "No." And he goes over to the wife chair, and he starts dragging her into the study. He's, like, dragging her, and he's like, "What are you gonna do, dude?" And he, like, props her up, like, on the couch with him, and then he opens up, like, his liquor cabinet, pours himself some Jack Daniels, Chad, just fucking downs it, pours himself another, and then, he's gone at this point. He's like, his mind is snapped. Opens the wife's mouth and, like, starts pouring in the whiskey, and just all blub, 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 blub. It's all falling down, and he's like, "It's good, isn't it?" And he fucking does that. And at this point, he sees the note on the gun cabinet that little Ed Jr. left, and it said, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I'm gonna clean your guns for your birthday. Love, Ed Jr." And he takes it and he puts it on his wife. Puts her right on where the fucking hole is on her torso, with all her guts hanging out. Puts that on there. And he's like, "Well, it's my birthday, and Big Ed wants to play." And it's like, what does that mean? And he starts taking off his clothes, chat. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He starts taking off his clothes, chat, and he takes off his wife's clothes, and he starts fucking the dead body. And little Ed Jr. comes in. He called the police, and then we see Big Ed just, "You did this. You did this." Cut. And we cut. And we cut, chat. 10 years later. 10 years later. Oh, fuck no. 10 years later. And little Ed Jr., he is now in college, chat, even though I'm like, this is a 30-year-old man. But I'll say, let's say he's in grad school. He's in grad school. And he's hanging out with his friends in the local bar, chat, in the local town, village tavern, if you will. Because it's kind of set on the East Coast, but it's not Northeast. It's very much, this is like North Carolina, South Carolina. I think you can tell, like, the license plates. And this one police officer has, he has a badge on his arm, and it says North Carolina. It's like, okay, clearly it is. Or at least in the shape of North Carolina. And he's all hanging out with his friends and shit. and they're on fall break, which I don't know what the fuck fall break is. Like, what college is on break in the fall? Like, okay, I understand winter break, spring break, sure. What the fuck is fall break? Is that Thanksgiving? Because then why wouldn't you just call it Thanksgiving break? I get that. Is it Labor Day? Is it Labor Day? Where you get like an extra day off? Like, I don't know what's this fall break bullshit? I don't know what, maybe they thought, like, are we just taking off a semester? I have no idea. We have fall week in Canada universities, and I'm like, I would allow that dip and deuce. I'd be like, okay, it's a Canadian thing, but this takes place in the Grand Ole USA, in the United States of America. And so I don't know what this fall break is. It's very weird to me. And that's the biggest, of everything I've seen in the film, this is the biggest mystery at this point. But, him and his friends are hanging out, and we're introduced to all of his friends, chat, and they're all like, you are all potential victims later on in the movie. They're all stereotypes, chat. You got Pam, his girlfriend, good old Pam, chat, the Pamster. She's the smart girl. She's very smart. She's, she's not like slutty or anything like that. She's like, it's like, she's pretty. She is. But she's also not a prude at the same time. She's a well-rounded individual. And then you have Ralph, chat, who is the quote-unquote comic relief character, except he has no fucking comedy at all. He's like, no. When they cut to Ralph, it's never for comic relief. It's just to annoy the hell out of you. We also have Sue, who is the girlfriend of Ralph, and she has big boobs. That's her function. She's like, I'm Big Boob Sue. So we got Big Boob Sue, chat. And then we have Linda, who is very much the horny ditz of the group. And then we have Mike, who is the other male friend, but he's clearly older than all the other actors. And he's like, looks to be in his late 30s to he might be 40 years old. Late 30s, early 40s. And I'm like, are they hanging out with the professor? Did he take the kids to like a bar to hang out and talk about, their assignments? But I'm like, Mike, you are a fucking old man. What do you hang out with these students for? It doesn't make any sense. That's the group chat. We got Little Ed Jr., who's got a nice, perm like his mom does. We have Pam, the girlfriend, chat, who also knows Kung Fu, by the way. She does know Kung Fu. She's she's knowledgeable. Ralph, the quote-unquote comic relief. Big Boob Sue, Linda the Ditz, and Mike the old man, chat. This is how I remember these characters, okay? And he's hanging out with their fucking friends at this bar, and they're having dialogue, which is just, what's so great about this movie is they had to dub over all the actors, because when they originally filmed it, none of the audio carried over. And so, because it was so bad, so they had to dub them over again, and none of the lip sync is in sync with the dialogue. It's all out of sync, and it's so fucking awkward. Only 2 people in this film have Wikipedia pages, and none of them are the director. Yes, that tells you everything you need to know about the Mutilator. And they're talking, and I forget what the fuck I don't even know the dialogue. It's just that kind of dialogue where we're trying to be funny. We're trying to act like teenagers, even though you're obviously not teenagers. All their dialogue typically amounts to talking about, we need to get more beer, we want to have sex, or we want to smoke some doobies. We want to have drugs. That's it. That is all their dialogue. That's all they do. But apparently, chat, Big Ed, he has still been in communication with his son, Little Ed Jr., but the relationship has soured, chat, after the death of their, Little Ed Jr.'s mom, Big Ed's wife. And, even though he supported his son in college, he's like, he fucking hates his son. But apparently, Chad, the barkeep, if you will, the bar owner says, hey, Little Ed Jr., I got a call from your dad. He wants to talk to you. And he goes, okay. Which I don't know how fucking Big Ed got the phone number to the bar. Good question, but whatever. Fucking Little Ed Jr. answers it. And we don't hear the dad, but apparently, according to Little Ed Jr., the dad wants him to come down to the island to clean up the condominium that the family owned and sell it because Big Ed doesn't want it anymore. And fucking Little Ed's like, okay, cool. Meanwhile, chat, the friends are all talking behind Little Ed Jr.'s back, saying, like, what's the deal with Little Ed and Big Ed? Why do they have such a bad relationship? And, like, Pam's like, well, I don't want you to bring up with Little Ed because it upsets him so much, but when Little Ed was a kid, he accidentally shot his mom and he killed her. And they're like, whoa, that's fucking awful. But then Ralph makes like a really crass joke. He's like, hey, man, I didn't know that you were blowing your mother away. It's like, Ralph, shut the fuck up, okay? You're not doing yourself any favors, comic relief. But then, despite that really bad comment, Little Ed says, hey, I have to go down this during fall break to clean up my dad's condominium and, potentially sell it. How about we all go down there, clean up together, and just fucking hang out all fall break? And everyone's like, wow, Little Ed Jr., that's a fucking great idea. Let's do it. And so it's like the next day, and they're all, pouring into the car, this convertible, getting all the brewskis, chat, getting all the doobies that they're gonna smoke in like little Ziploc bags. Like, okay, we got the beer, we got the doobies, we got the big boob broads, don't we? Another great comment from Ralph. But then Ralph, there's like a really awkward scene, which I guess is attempted humor, where Ralph is like, sorry guys, but Sue can't come with us. And they're going, why can't she come with us? She told us that she was going to be able to go. And he's like, sorry, I guess she just can't do it. And then Sue immediately walks up and he's like, I'm ready to go. And they're like, but Ralph just said that you couldn't go. She goes, oh, Ralph, always the prankster. So apparently this is one of Ralph's great pranks, telling everyone his girlfriend can't go, but turns out she can go. Wow. Fantastic comedic writing so far in The Mutilator / Fall Break. And they all pour into the car, and then we literally get, I'm like, wow, what a transition. So we just saw this woman get her fucking stomach and chest blown out, and the dad having sex with the dead body, and the little boy and the little son watching all of this transpire, to literally an opening to the Jeffersons or Full House chat. This font comes up, like it says Fall Break. They did not change the font to the Mutilator chat, and we really get whatever happened to predictability, the milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. It's like, what the fuck is happening? What is this movie? And I was like, okay. And they're just driving down the road, talking to each other excitedly as this montage music starts playing, and everyone's fucking having fun and doing just fucking drink. Everyone's drinking beer. Even the driver's just pounding 2 beers back, going, woo, we're gonna live forever. You say that, don't you? Eventually, they drank all their beer, and they need to, from necrophilia to a sitcom. Yes. Emily, good to see you. We're talking about Fall Break / The Mutilator, which involves necrophilia and a sitcom-esque appeal, though. But they drank all the beer on the road, so they have to go get more beer. And so they send Ralph into the convenience store chat, and Ralph goes to the back. He grabs all this beer, and he goes up to the front, and the cashier is black. And Ralph's like, ooh, this is a prime opportunity to make a black joke. And I'm like, Ralph, no. But he sees there's a sign, but apparently, if you're a senior citizen, you get a 10% discount. And he asked the cashier, he's like, hey, man, I noticed that there's a 10% discount for seniors. And he's like, oh, how old do I have to qualify to get the discount? And they've dubbed over everyone's dialogue. And the black cashier is like, you need to be 65 years old. And where he's like, well, man, I'm not quite 65, okay? All right, I am 21 years young. It's like, you are not 21 years old. You look to be maybe 29. You look as old as I do, Ralph. But he's like, this is discrimination. This is discrimination against my people. Do you stand for discrimination, cashier? And he's like, no. I do not. Well, he's like, here's this. We work out a deal. I'll go buy me and my friends another case of the brewskis, okay? And you go ahead and just take 10% off. And the guy goes, okay, white boy. And so he goes and gets the beer, pays for it, gets the senior fucking discount. They fucking go off. The black cashier's wife, they own the store. But the black cashier's wife comes over, and she says, that fucking white boy is dumb. He goes, yes, he is. But we got more money from it. And then we cut back to the group, and they keep driving. On second thought, Ralph is getting his ass kicked twice. Oh, you'll see, Mysterious Ronan. But they keep driving down, And eventually they get to their dad's coming in, which actually doesn't look too bad. Like on the outside, it's funny. It's like there's no one who lives on this island. Like they set it up like you have to cross like multiple bridges to get to this island. Like no one else lives there. But because the movie is so fucking cheap, there's obviously people living around them. It's like a condominium in the middle of a trailer park because there's all sorts. You see people in the background walking around and shit. And it's like, yeah, bullshit. And it's like, oh, and there's no one here on fall break. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It looks like it's September, October. Of course, people will be living on the North Carolina or South Carolina beaches. There'd be a shit ton of people, but it's like, nope. No one around for miles. Occasionally, a police officer comes by every day to check up on things. But for the most part, no one else lives here. There are literally, I see houses. There's a house like not 10 feet away from you, but it's like no one lives here. Okay. And so they're like, oh, this place actually looks kind of cool. And so they go up inside the house, chat, and it's a fucking dump. It looks like shit. Big Ed apparently has not taken the death of his wife very well, and he's been living there ever since, I would say, or for at least a while, and it's just covered in liquor bottles, beer cans, wine bottles, chat. I mean, this clearly Big Ed has had a liquid diet for quite some time. And they're just going through the house and things, and they start seeing like weird shit because there's all these, taxidermied animal shit, all these stuffed animals. And the friends start asking, it's like, hey man, so what are all these things? And little Ed Jr. describes like, oh well, my dad is a hunter, and him and his hunting buddies would always come up here, and they would shoot the shit, they would trade stories and stuff, and do competitions, and they basically. What happens at this point, a character will point something at the wall, and it's the thing that's later used to kill one of the characters in the movie. So we see a gaff, chat. It's called a gaff. It's basically like a giant fucking fish hook, and where you literally take this thing and you grab, like you're trying to get the fish, like it's on the reel, for example, but it's so heavy. So like for like a swordfish or a tuna, and you take this fucking gaff and you put it right inside the fish to lift it up over to the boat. We have that. Apparently, the dad has some throwing knives, and the dad, apparently, like him and his hunting buddies, had like a throwing knife competition in the living room, like into the wall. And the dad, like fucking, apparently had this like really good knife throw, and he framed it, chat. This big fucking throwing knife, and it's like, yeah, Dad loved this competition so much, and he just wanted to memorialize it, remember it forever. And this knife is just embedded in the wall, and they're all like, okay. We also see this ancient ceremonial mask, and Ralph's like, oh, this is prime Ralph territory, and he grabs the mask and starts going, ooga booga booga, ooga booga booga. It's like, oh, Ralph, always with the humor. And we also find a trident, which I guess he fucking took from Aquaman at one point. I guess Big Egg hunted down fucking Jason Momoa, gutted him, and took his trident, which is on the wall, and... I think what was the last thing? Oh, yeah. And we have a battle axe. Oh, at least we thought, because there's this one mark on the wall, clear for something huge. And little Ed Jr. goes, and this is my dad's. Oh, that's weird. My dad's battle axe is missing. Now, listen. I know a lot of hunters have different types of guns and things and knives, of course. But I don't think many hunters or fishermen have battle axes. That's a little unusual to me. And some of it's like Pam, fucking the voice of reason, Pam. I'm a Pam supporter, by the way. She goes, well... shouldn't we, like, call the police to let them know? I mean, it looks like someone hasn't been here in quite a while. I mean, we could have had some homeless people that might have been started drinking here, living here. They might have stolen the axe. And little Ed Jr.'s like, nah, I'm sure my dad just took it. He really loves that battle axe. And it's like, okay. Well, fuck whatever Pam had to say, I suppose. Eventually, they go to the garage area, chat, and it's just covered in more fucking weapons of war, like machetes and axes and other gaffs and things and spears and tridents and stuff. And they're just having a good time. They're just like, they're hopping around. They're being rambunctious teenagers. Shit. Plus, they're fucking liquored up to hell. They've been drinking all goddamn day, chat, and they finally start smoking doobies. And then they go to this one area, chat. There's like a closet in the garage, and that's where Big Ed is, chat, completely fucking naked, holding the axe like this, chat, with like the drunk shakes. Like he's like, I need a drink so bad. And he's just there, and just with the drunk sweats, and he hears all this noise and wakes up. And, or no, even before that, as he's shaking with the axe, completely just naked in a flop sweat. We go into the mind of Big Ed, where he's just imagining killing his 12-year-old son over and over and over again. We see this one scene where he grabs his son and just starts strangling him and shaking him. We see this one scene when he slits little Ed Jr.'s throat. Another one is when he guts him with like his battle axe, chat, and Big Ed's just like, the whole time. But he eventually comes out of that wonderful dream of his, chat, where he's thinking about murdering his son, and he hears all these horny, drunk teenagers. He's like, I've had enough. I'm going to fucking kill them all. That's what I'm going to do. It's what I need to do. But we're not going to do it quite yet, chat, because we need to still establish character, of course, chat. And the characters, look, they've been drinking all day, they've been smoking doobies all day, and they are very hungry. And so they decide, chat, to make mac and cheese. But it's the most disgusting way I've ever seen anyone eat mac and cheese, chat. So apparently they brought food with them, mac and cheese, hamburger helper, and all that shit, but no one brought any utensils like forks or spoons and knives or whatever. And so they're literally scooping out mac and cheese from these communal bowls with their hands, chat, and just putting them on their plates and eating them like monsters. It's like, what is this? It's so fucking weird. And they're just like, no. The whole time. It's like, I hope Big Ed does hunt them down, because they're fucking gross. They're so gross. Symbolism, I guess. You know what, RD? You might be right. It might be symbolism, just because of the fact that they're like, Big Ed looks at them like this is game. These are animals that I need to kill, I suppose. So they're just literally taking handfuls of mac and cheese and hamburger helper, putting on their plate and just eating them. And also with a shit ton of beers, and they're all burping and stuff. Like Ralph is like, whoa, that was a good one. And of course, chat, you know, like, all right, ladies, go ahead and clean up. Go ahead and enjoy yourselves in the kitchen. So they give all the plates to Pam, and she's like, hey, little Ed Jr., come here. He's like, you fucking clean them up. Enjoy your time in the kitchen. He's like, okay. It's like, don't. Sexism, chat, sexism. After that, Mike and Linda, they're like, well, we want to work off this mac and cheese and hamburger helper, so we're going to go walk on the beach. And so they go walk on the beach, chat. And they start taking all their clothes off and stuff. They're like, you know where this is going. But instead of like going into the ocean, they decide, hey, let's not go swim in the ocean. Let's go to the house down the way where there's a pool. Like, obviously it's someone's private pool, but they're like, fuck it. Who gives a shit? And so they go into this person's private pool. Meanwhile, Big Ed has gotten up, chat, and he's like has battle axe in hand, and he drunkenly follows Mike and Linda as they go to the pool. Mike and Linda eventually get there, but Linda is like, why is the water all murky? And, you know, Mike is like, it's because they put chlorine in it. And she's like, what's chlorine mean? And he goes, well, it's what keeps the water clean and purifies. It's like, is it okay if I get it on my body? And he's like, well, it might sting a little. And she's like, that's okay. I like pain. And so it's like, okay. I hope you do. And so they jump into the water, and I will say, chat, it's like, fuck, they're like, fuck, we don't give a shit. We're horny, we're drunk, and we've been smoking doobies, and we have filled our tummies with mac and cheese and hamburger helper, which we have eaten with our hands like fucking monsters. And I will say, this pool has a shit ton of chlorine in it. Because I'm like, water is really fucking murky. I mean, that would mess up your skin. Like, you got to put chlorine in pool water, obviously, chat. But the owner of this pool put way too fucking much. And we get a really long fucking scene of them just in this fucking pool the whole time. And this is where I'm get confused, because then they start playing like Marco Polo to an extent. They go underneath the water. The person's like, where are you? And I can't see them because I guess the chlorine water's so murky. But Big Ed, he wanders in and just looks at them, and he starts taking off all his clothes, chat. They don't know he's there, apparently. The hamburger helper mac and cheese, chat, that diet just completely destroyed their peripheral vision like horses. When you eat too much mac and cheese and hamburger helper, too much beef, chat, your vision goes to shit, apparently, and also dulls your ears. Man, they got water in their ears. All that chlorine's just swelled their ears up. Their earlobes just fucked. But he goes into the water completely fucking naked, and while they're playing Marco Polo, Linda comes up for air at one point, but then Big Ed just like, nope, and he just shoves her back under the water and drowns her, chat. She drowns. And then apparently he has enough time to then drag her body out of the water, dress himself before Mike comes up out of the water. And it's like, Mike can hold his breath like a motherfucker at this point. But Linda, chat, is now dead. She's been drowned with chlorine water. I imagine the mac and cheese and hamburger helper did not help either. She probably just fucking sunk like a goddamn anchor in that water, chat. But then Mike's like, Linda, where'd you go? And he looks at the place like where their clothes were, and they're all gone. He's like, Linda, come on, I'm gonna be naked. And so he gets out of the water, chat, and he finds like his pants, and he sees like a trail of clothes. He's like, oh, playing hard to get. I get it. And so he follows his clothes, chat, picks up a sock. And by the way, why are you putting on your socks? And where you're already so wet. Like, he's literally putting on these big fucking socks on his wet feet. It's like, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good. Puts his pants on and stuff, whatever. Eventually, it leads all the way to the garage, chat, back to the house. And he sees Linda's underwear, chat, on the door. And he's like, okay, nice. And he grabs underwear and goes, gross. Oh, Linda, Mike's ready to play. And he opens the door, and Big Ed is there, chat, and he has this fucking propeller from a like a little boat, and he just stabs Mike in the gut with. He goes, oh, and he revs the motor, chat, and the motor starts cutting up his stomach and chest. He's like, oh, and all blood and gore and mac and cheese and hamburger helper starts just like exploding out of him, chat, until Mike eventually falls down dead. And then he takes out the motorboat, he throws it behind him, and he grabs the body, chat, of Mike, and he drags him over to what I'm going to now dub, chat, as the fuck closet, because that's what he's doing with the bodies, chat. He drags Mike over where Linda also is, and he then starts putting up, like, there's this coat rack, except the little handles for where you would put your hat or your coat have been sharpened to like spikes, and he kind of does what, Leatherface does in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where he just puts the body on them like that, and he sticks him to the wall, chat. And then he puts Linda's body on there via like the neck or head area, and he does the same thing with Mike, chat. And I assume he just fucks them. I mean, that's the only thing, because he's like, that's how, like, the last time I think he had sex was when he, had sex with his wife's dead body. And I just assume he's fucking the cadavers, chat. I mean, he is a necrophiliac at this point. Eventually, we cut, and we see our characters are playing Monopoly, chat. It's Monopoly time. Monopoly paid for the movie. There's a lot of advertising in this film, chat. Monopoly, Coca-Cola, all that shit. A specific beer brand that they clearly like. We love this beer. This beer is great. Glug, 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 glug. This beer's good. They put it down and shit. They're playing Monopoly, but Ralph is like, I don't like Monopoly because you just aren't good with your finances, Ralph. He's like, I can't help it. When I get money, I want to spend it on stuff. And they're like, okay, well, let's go for a walk or something. And so they all go outside. So it's Ralph, it's a Big Boob Sue, Little Ed Jr., and Pam. And they go walk on the beach while Big Ed, he's done fornicating with the dead bodies, and he follows them outside, and he's watching them, chat. He's watching them like, I hate them. I want to fuck them, like, really bad. And they're just, again, it's a long fucking shot, a montage of them just literally, like, picking up seashells. And like, look at this seashell. It's bigger. Mine's bigger than yours. Another great joke from Ralph. And eventually, chat, they're accosted because the guy goes, hey, wait a minute. There's like a jump scare and like, whoa. And it's a local policeman. He's like, what are you kids doing out here so late? What are you doing on this island with literal 0 people on it? And they're going, oh, apologies, officer. We're just here to clean up my father's condominium. We're going to put it on the market. We're going to sell it. And we just want to make sure it was clean. But we decided to come down here for fall break. He's like, oh, fall break. Of course. Everyone knows about fall break. I don't. the fuck is fall break? Apparently they do it in Canada, but we ain't in Canada, chat. We're in the United States of America. We don't have fall break unless it's Labor Day, unless it's Thanksgiving. In that case, just fucking say that. But whatever. And he's like, well, okay. Well, you make sure to keep your eyes open because we've had apparently a vagrant on the loose, and he's been drinking. They're like, don't really, sir. We'll make sure to keep our eyes out for this vagrant. And so this fucking cop, he just walks back, and he's looking at the condominium, and he's like, well, something's ain't right. You know, it looks like the door's open. And he goes up, with the kids at the back door, but he goes in there and goes, these goddamn kids, they gotta really lock their doors. It's dangerous. They don't know. And he turns around, and a fucking fence post goes right through his fucking face. It's like goes, oh! It kind of, I think, what happens is it goes through his cheek. So Big Ed, apparently, didn't expect this shit, has gotten like a wooden fence post that he got out of the ground and then has thrusted through the cop's cheek and has gone down into his throat. And so he's like, oh. And Big Ed got the battle axe, Chad, and goes, foo, and he swings that thing and cuts off the cop's head, Chad, decapitates him. He then takes the head and looks at it and goes, and he grabs the body and it takes it back to his fuck closet, chat, where I imagine he proceeds to fuck it, or at least attempts to. I don't know. He's already shot his load, I imagine, inside of Mike and Linda at this point, but, I don't know what he's going to do, chat. We'll see what Big Ed. I think he actually passes out at this point. He actually passes the fuck out. Eventually, our group of characters, they go back to the house, the condominium, and they're like, I wonder where Mike and Linda are. We haven't seen them all day. And Ralph's like, I'm sure they're enjoying each other right now. Am I right? And he starts grabbing his girl's ass. She's like, what are you doing? Stop it. He actually, no, what he does, no, he doesn't grab his girlfriend's ass. Doesn't grab Sue's ass. He actually grabs Pam's ass, which is, that's little Ed Jr.'s girlfriend. And first of all, don't be grabbing girls' asses, dude. That's really shitty. That's really incredibly shitty behavior. I mean, that's sexual assault. But she's like, fuck you. And she literally takes his arm, throws him over, and she's like on top of him. He's like, whoa, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do anything. And she goes, yeah, I bet. And he's like, everyone's like, all right, let's calm down. And like, hashtag me too. I'm goddamn right. And at this point, everyone's like, okay, well, how about we play a fucking game? And Ralph's like, oh, I have a suggestion. They're like, what is it, Ralph? Hey, let's play Blind Man's Bluff. Which I'm like, I don't know what the fuck Blind Man's Bluff is, but I played the PG-rated version of this game, chat. What this game entails is you have one person who stays inside of the house, but you gotta turn all the lights off, make it as dark as fucking possible, okay? Like, as dark as humanly possible. So, like, you can't even see. You can't see shit. This person then goes hides somewhere inside the house or behind something, and they just stay there. They drink their beer. Everyone gets a fucking beer. They drink their beer while people outside drink their beers, and you're supposed to basically get as much light in your eyes as possible. So you're staying outside in the bright sun, and then when you go inside the house, chat, it's hard for your eyes to adjust. And so the person, whoever they are, they're at an advantage at this point. And so I think the person who goes in first is Sue. I want to say it's like Sue or something. And so she goes inside the house. The thing is, though, chat, like I played a version where we did this all the time in like my basement and shit. I had this huge fucking basement, my friends' basements. Like when I was a kid, we had this basement that was kind of turned into like a rec room, and I had a ping pong table and stuff down there, and like cabinets and stuff. Computer was down there and things. And my friends also had these kind of recreational area basements, and we basically did the same fucking thing. We didn't drink at the time because we weren't of age, but we would go upstairs in the bright light while the other person hid downstairs. We would go back down, and we couldn't see shit until we found them. So we actually played a variation of Blind Man's Bluff, where so if a person finds that person, they then need to be like right next to them. And then another person comes in, they need to be right next to him until everyone finds each other. That's the game. That's the game, basically. And I think who's ever last is the person that then has to go hide. I think that's what it is. And so, now the thing the movie gets wrong is the lighting in it is so fucking bright, like you can easily see. You can easily see everything, Chad. The room in that they're hiding is as bright as I am right now. And so you get one of the most awkward scenes of the actors pretending that they're in total darkness, where it's like, I can fucking see easily in front of me in every nook and cranny here. It's a little dark, but it just looks blue. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? It's so bad. Oh, yeah, you guys don't have basements in Texas. Well, I grew up in the Northeast where we have basements, so. There's that. I'm originally a New York native. And so it's such an awkward scene where Sue or whatever has to go hide, and Ralph and Little Ed Jr. and Pam, they're outside, they drink their beers, they almost fake push Pam over the fucking railing, almost kill her, while Big Ed Jr. is just watching, just jerking the whole time. Eventually, they all go inside the house and pretend to be in total darkness, and it's like, this is the most awkward fucking thing in the movie. Because they're like, I can't see anything. Where is everybody? You can fucking see. Jesus. Eventually, Big Ed gets in on the game because he walks in the house, but he's in such a fucking drunken, horny stupor that he's like, I can't see either. And so there are literal scenes when they're like passing by each other, like Big Ed just like passes by Ralph or whatever, but they can't see each other because it's so dark, even though it obviously isn't. So I guess we as the audience have to just say, okay, I guess it's so dark that they can't see each other. It's tension, but because we can obviously see that it's super bright, that how can they not see each other? It just becomes like really awkward and unintentionally funny. And so they're constantly like, Big Ed's passing by Little Ed Jr. and passing by Pam and Sue and all that shit. And eventually all these characters, Ralph is like the first one to find Sue, and he grabs her boobs and goes, honk, honk. And she goes, stop it. Stop grabbing my boobs. I can't help it. They're always in the way. Another great joke from the Ralphster. And he sits down next to her. Eventually, Pam finds them, and she sits down right next to Ralph. Big Ed, he comes through. He waddles in. Where's everyone? Trying to kill him. He's got like his battle axe in hand. And like Ralph is just about to touch the foot of Big Ed, like alerting him of their location. But Pam says, don't do it. Now we're playing a game. And he fucking, waddles out, chat, back to his fuck closet. He's like, whatever, I'll get him later. And eventually, Little Ed Jr., he finds them, and at the last, he's like, how did you find us? He's like, the kitchen was the only other place I didn't look. So by process of elimination, I knew you guys were in the kitchen. Though you could have been in the garage or my dad's cadaver fuck closet, but he didn't go to the fuck closet, chat, obviously, because he would have found the bodies, and they have not found the bodies yet. Otherwise, they would be horrified, and they would probably want to leave. But eventually, everyone's like, well, what should we do now? Should we play Monopoly? But then they're like, no, I'm too tired. And they're getting horny at this point. And so then Ralph and Sue, they go upstairs to have sex. And Little Ed Jr. and Pam, they go upstairs to have sex too, chat. But then Sue, her women's intuition kicks in, and she's like, did you lock the door downstairs? And Ralph's like, I don't know. She's like, I want you to go check to make sure all the doors are locked downstairs. And where is Mike and Linda? They haven't been here all night. I'm concerned. And he's like, I mean, I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they found a nice little cozy bed to fool around with, right? And she's like, I want you to, listen, before you go ahead and lock the doors, just try to find them beforehand, okay? Because we're going to lock up, and I don't want to leave them outside. Like, I will give Sue this, chat. Like, she does fucking care. She does care about the well-being of Mike and Linda, and everyone doesn't give a fucking shit. So I'm kind of on Sue's side at this point. I'm like, I'm with you, Sue. I'm with you. She's right. And Ralph's like, well, what kind of incentive are you going to give me? And she's like, is this enough incentive? And he's like, whoa, yeah, it is. And so then we get this, like, literally, like this sped up, like, yakety sack scene where he jumps out of bed and goes, bum, bum, ba-na-na, bum, bum, ba-na-na, bum, bum, ba-na-na, bum, 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 like, literally does that. And it's like, even breaks the fourth wall and salutes the camera at one point, and he goes out the door. It's like, what the fuck is this movie? What's the tone? We go from yakety sack to a man hunting down teenagers and fucking their dead bodies. That's where we are in the movie. But it's like, okay. Eventually, Ralph goes downstairs, and he starts, he locks the doors and shit, but he goes outside. He's, like, looking for Mike and Linda. And he eventually hears, like, some kind of noise. He hears this, and it's Big Ed fucking the bodies, but he doesn't know that yet. And eventually he goes to the garage, and he's like, Mike, Linda, are you guys there? And he goes in there and everything, and he finds, like, the throwing knives, and he's like, whoa, throwing knives, cool. And he starts throwing the knives, like, at the wall, at the door where Big Ed's behind. He's like, but then he sees the underwear on the handle, and he's like, ooh, I see what you guys are doing. Okay. And he takes the underwear and is like, wow, shit, Linda, you got a big booty, girl. And he's like, come on, guys, let Ralph get on in the action. And he opens the fucking door, chap. And he sees all the bodies. He's like, oh my God! And then Big Ed comes forward, and he has the fucking trident. And he gets right into the neck of Ralph, chat. And so he's like, and he's like lifting him up into the air. He's like, oh! And he like thrusts him into the door, chat. And he pins him right there. And he breaks off the handle of the trident, chat. And so Ralph is just like, and he dies. And Big Ed then closes the door and I assume fucks the body of Ralph. I don't know. Eventually, we cut back to Sue, who has been waiting, and she's like, well, Ralph would probably, be back here right now. I mean, I did show him my big old boobies. And so something's wrong. And so she goes to the next room, knocks at a door for Little Ed Jr., and what's her name? Pam. And they've consummated their love, chat. They're done. They're good. They didn't actually have there's no penetration. It was some dry humping, really. She's like, I'm not ready yet, Little Ed. I'm not ready yet. Okay, I'm not ready to see your Little Ed right now. He's like, okay. So they had some on the clothes action, if you will, chat. But Sue's concerned, and she's like, Ralph's not back yet. Neither's Mike or Linda. Guys, I got a really bad feeling about this. And they're like, okay, all right. Well, let's go downstairs and check for them. So they all go downstairs at this point and are looking around. And Sue's just like, I want to go home. I don't feel comfortable with this. I think something bad's happening. I want to go, okay? And, fucking Little Ed Jr.'s like, okay, I'll get my keys. And we'll go to the police station. We'll put in like a missing person report. Even at this point, it's only been missing for like a couple hours, so they wouldn't even bother, but whatever. But he's like, let me go get my keys. And then Pam also is like, I'll go with you because I'm scared. And so Sue, you stay here and die. And so Sue is just standing out there, chat, in her, I guess she changed her. Oh yeah, she did change into her regular clothes, so she's not in her nightgown anymore. And she's just out there at the moment. But she sees what looks like, she goes into the garage because she sees like what looks like blood. And she's like, what is that? What's going on? And we get one of the most disturbing kills in the movie where Big Ed bursts out of the fucking fuck closet, chat, and he has the gaff, the giant fish hook, grabs Sue by the neck and throws her down onto the taxidermy table, chat. That's all I can really describe it as. And he literally, and I'm like, oh my, is he going to do what I think he's going to do? And he takes the gaff, chat, and he puts it right into her vagina, a giant fish hook. And you think, oh, that's it. No, he's not done. He then literally, it's in her, and he just he tears apart her vaginal region, chat, until she's like, oh. And I'm like, oh, it is a nasty fucking death. I'm like, God damn, that's where the money went. And so he literally disembowels her vajayjay area, chat. And then he takes the battle axe and cuts her head off. It's like, yeah, at that point, just do it. Just kill me already. Eventually, what's her name? Oh yeah, Pam and Little Ed Jr. They come back down, and they don't know where is Sue? Where'd she go? What happened to her? And they walk forward. At this point, they keep on walking. They walk and they find they see. Is that Sue? Sue, what are you doing, silly? And they go over to the table, chat, where they see her vagina literally ripped open, and they see that she has no fucking head. And they're like, oh my God! And then Big Ed comes up behind him, chat, and he tries to hit him with the battle axe that he has. Slices Ed Jr. down his back or down his shoulder. And at this point, Little Ed and Big Ed are battling each other, chat. They're throwing punches, and Big Ed's throwing Little Ed around. Pam, she sees the throwing knives, and she goes to grab the throwing knives, chat. She's like, oh, no. And she throws one of the knives. And she fucking hits Little Ed Jr. with it. Now Big Ed, chat, goes right into his thick thigh. And it must have hit a fucking artery, because it just starts profusely bleeding. He's like, and he falls down. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. While Big Ed He's like, he starts walking towards her and stuff, and she has one fucking last knife, boom, and hits him right in the fucking face, chat, right above the eye. He's like, and he falls down, seemingly dead, chat. And she's like, it's all in the reflexes. She then goes over to Little Ed Jr. He's like, and she like takes off like a part of her shirt and they wraps it around his leg to stop the bleeding. Eventually grabs or drags Little Ed Jr. to the car, and it's like, he's not gonna be able to drive. He says, I won't be able to drive. She's like, but I don't have my driver's license. He's like, who gives a fuck? Get your ass in here and drive. And so they get into the car. But she's like, I don't know how like, there's literally a scene where she's like, I don't know how cars work. And she puts the key in and she fucking floods the engine. And he's like, you fucking flooded it. What are you doing? She's like, I don't know what's going on. It's like you were so confident like a minute ago. But she doesn't know how to drive a fucking car. And eventually he's like, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll just try again in a minute. And eventually doesn't flood the engine, turns the lights on, and when they look in the garage, but Big Ed has disappeared, chat. But then they hear this boo, 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 boo on the top of the roof. Big Ed is now on top of the roof, chat, thrusting the battle axe inside. And he's like he basically makes a big hole, and he grabs Little Ed Jr.'s fro and starts like pulling him out, and he's like, start the engine. And so Sue, she puts it in the fucking gear, chat. She puts it in the reverse, and she starts just going backwards like really fucking fast. Really fast at this point. Meanwhile, the police are doing their patrol, I guess, once a night, and they come across and they see this. And they're like, what's going on over there? And so they turn their sirens on. They start heading in their direction. But eventually, Big Ed, because he catches his arm. Oh, I think the thing too, they burn his hand with a cigarette lighter, Chad. And he's like, oh, but he gets part of his hand like caught in one of the metal, like it's caught in the hole that he made. And he's like, oh, he's trying to get off the car, but he can't. And eventually the car just hits this fucking concrete wall. He's like, oh, like that. And he's like, oh, and he starts like coughing up blood and stuff. But then Sue, she puts it into forward and into drive, and she drives forward, and we see the bottom half of Big Ed fall off, chat. It like sliced him down. He has no peen anymore. He got Darth Mauled. And then his upper half of his body gives way, and he's right next to like his legs just going. And eventually the cops come over and go, what's going on? And they're like, here's a fucking guy. Oh, this is the first time where Little Ed Jr. realizes, like, it's my dad. My dad, he tried to kill us. And the cops go over to the severed body of Big Ed. And they're like, well, looks like this is the end of Big Ed. And he fucking wakes up, chat, and drags himself forward with his battle axe in hand and chops off the legs of the cop, chat. And the cop's like, oh! And Big Ed's just like, and he starts dragging himself forward. It's like, what? Is he Jason? Is he a zombie? And he starts dragging himself forward, Chad, to fucking Pam and Little Ed Jr. But before he can finally do what he's wanted for so long, Chad, which he's wanted to do in his dreams for years, he dies. He dies at the feet of his son and his son's lover, chat. And then we cut, and we're in the hospital with Little Ed Jr. He's on crutches and stuff, and he speaks to the nurse, and he's like, nurse, is Pam okay? And she's like, she hasn't had any change since yesterday, but if you wish to go see her, go see her. And he goes into the room, and Pam has the same 1,000-yard stare that Little Ed Jr.'s mom and Big Ed have, chat. And that, my friends, is the Mutilator, also known as Fall Break. Lost him, became a zombie. Momentarily became a zombie. Momentarily. And that, my friends, is the Mutilator. I hope you enjoyed the review. I might have exaggerated a few details. I've Googled the director, Buddy Cooper. He looks exactly like the kind of dad whose midlife crisis is making this movie. There you go. It makes sense. It's about a dad going through a midlife crisis who resents his son. Also, the fucking movie ends with a blooper reel where it shows like all the actors going, whoa, isn't this great? We're making a movie, which kind of has a charm to it, chap. That's what it was. So here's the twist, Chris. Linda was Claude Rains' niece. Wow, she was not very good. That's cool, though. It's cool. All I got out of this review is necrophilia and murder. That's kind of what the movie is, though. That's what it is. Hey, they were consistent. They were consistent the whole time. Big Ed likes to fuck dead bodies, and he wants to kill his son. That's his motivation. Erg, I really grown to hate blooper reels in the last several years. Yeah. This is a weird blooper reel because it starts with, like, Big Ed strangling the little version of Little Ed Jr., the kid version. He's like, ah! And then the kid starts laughing, and then Big Ed starts laughing. It's like, this is odd. After I just saw this man try to murder so many people, right? And murder so many people. Very odd. But I will tell you, chat, like, I was shocked by the vagina kill. I was like, oh, my God. I was like, are they going to do what I think they're going to do? I thought, well, okay, he's going to just put it in there and she'll die. It takes a while. Like, he, like, rips it off and stuff. It's like, oh, my, wow. It was very grisly. I will say that. I think that's where the money went was with that kill, because I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, oh, my God. You don't really see that in movies. You don't really see that in a lot of shows, chat. And I was like, God damn, like, that kind of genital mutilation? It freaked me out. Oh, Lord, goddamn, Big Ed wants to kill his son, kills everybody, kills everyone but his son. It's true. He has body count. Yeah, he kills Mike, he kills Linda, he kills Ralph, he kills Sue, and he kills the cop. Kills the cop. Killed 5 people. 5 people, Joe. No, I haven't made this word. Nope. I've never heard of this movie. Yeah, it came out in 1984. It's like that kind of. There are so many horror films that still come out to this day, but especially in the 80s, where they all try to capitalize off the success of things like Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. And there's like hundreds of them where they were literally out for like a weekend and then they've never been heard of again. They went like maybe they went to VHS. You know, you can find hundreds of these on YouTube. There are so fucking many of them. This is one of these films. Yeah. This was suggested by, Dat Chicken Wing, Isaac Stevenson, which thank you again, sir. I did. And chat, if you want to hear my commentary or video reaction, listen to my commentary or watch my video reaction, that is currently on my Patreon right now. Yeah, so the movie's on Amazon for like $1. It's on there for $1, like 99 cents. You probably can find a free version too. But there's the custom request chat. The Mutilator, available at that $2 tier level. It was a fun watch. I'll tell you what. Big Ed shenanigans were entertaining to me, chat. Oh, my Lord. But now, my friends, I'm going to take a brief break. Get myself another beverage, chat. All this necrophilia and all this murder has driven me to a mighty thirst. A mighty thirst, chat. And I'm going to partake in some liquor, just like Big Ed would, chat, but hopefully I won't be murdering or having sex on any dead bodies. So please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves, and we're going to jump into some Back for Blood in just a second, chat. Stick around.